everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Where in the world are we today? Well, we are up in the beautiful mountains of Colorado doing a little production work for my wife's channel, Beyond the Purple Suitcase, and we are having a blast. It is cold, which is part of the reason why we're having a blast. Why am I doing an intro from right here? Well, if you look out the window, this probably doesn't look vaguely familiar, but it actually should, because this area that we are traversing at this moment between Frisco and Breckenridge was used in the opening scenes of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, come, let us adore Him, Christ the Lord.
In fact, a lot of that movie was filmed up here. The scene where Clark goes crashing into the Walmart parking lot was in the Frisco Walmart. We just drove by it a little while ago. And the scenes even in the attic were filmed in the high school gym of the Breckenridge High School. That was their rain delay location if the weather did not permit them to film outside. But it's kind of funny. The scenes probably now look familiar to you. Wonderful movie, hilarious. I love it a lot. And what's funny is the weather today is kind of overcast and looks a lot like that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Today we're here to review a turntable, this Crosley T150. Let's get into it. Okay guys, welcome back to the show. First of all, I want to thank you to those of you that participated in our recent poll. We did two polls today actually, but the first one we did was about our membership program, the Vinyl Nation, and the number one response that people gave as to why they haven't joined yet is they've never heard of it, which really surprised me. You're invited to join, extra show every week, and other cool benefits. Link in the description below. Seriously, join us. It's going to be awesome. Next, hopefully, you notice that I sound more clear than I usually do. That's because we have upgraded the audio. And this is the mic I had been using, which is this little Boya mini shotgun mic. And there's no batteries in this thing that I'm aware of. If there are, then they've never been replaced. And it usually sits in the windscreen here. And it works really good if you're eating the mic. But if I'm, 10 inches away, it gets quiet, and people have been noticing that. So we're going back to the Audio-Technica Lav, which I'd used in the past. I'd moved away from it because I felt that the resolution wasn't very good. It is a lower end mic, but at least it stays with me. So as I drift around, we shouldn't have an issue with the sound getting quieter. So this is the all new T150. This is the B model that they just came out with. And this is like a system in a box. So you've got speakers, the turntable, all that good stuff. What did they change on this? Well, they changed a couple of things. They upgraded the tone arm, and the plinth is no longer a plastic plinth. It is an MDF plinth. So let's get into it. Packaging is on point as always. I'm looking forward to this. We got this piece of cardboard so you don't slice your platter mat when you're opening the box. Take this apart for now. I must be doing this upside down. Usually the platter's on the bottom. That's why I'm saying that. So, okay, there's everything. Alrighty, and I'm dropping some stuff, which is always fun. Somebody mentioned in our recent video about the Insignia turntable from Best Buy, where I knocked the thing off the shelf. This guy's like, did you pick that up? Yes, I did. Fair question. Fair question. Yes, I did pick it up. All right, we've got the warranty. And we've got some accessories, and then another piece of cardboard on the bottom. If you open it upside down, which is what I usually do. Now the thing you heard come crashing out at first is the power supply. So this answers the question of internal or external power supply. Also in the Insignia video, somebody thought it was hilarious that I was referring to the internal transformer as a transformer. Let's look at these accessories here. We do have speaker wire because this does come with speakers. User manual. They have been including these 100-year anniversary thank you cards, which is really cool. A little bit of history. Powell Crosley. Now we visited gosh, was that last year? I did a short video from the Crosley mansion in Florida. We were actually at the gate. Didn't go in, didn't have time to do it, but I was traveling in the area and I thought that was fun to see the Crosley mansion. Somebody will point out, wow, oh yeah, I have seen this before. This is a 45 adapter with this sort of lightning Crosley logo. Here it is, packed in foam blocks. Oh yeah, the speaker wire. So there are the speaker wires. I always am fascinated with the comments. A lot of you guys, it's funny because a lot of people think the comments are a place to validate whether or not I'm saying the right thing. That's very common. Another thing is people think the comments are there for commentary about the truth of the matter when it comes to the product quality. Did I say it right or did I say it wrong? Some people actually give their opinion. Some people say thanks for the video. But I think probably the most entertaining to me are the people that don't realize that they're commenting on my channel. So they think that somehow it's some third-party commenting system. And they'll say, this guy, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, who do they think is reading the comments? This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe they do and they don't care. I don't know. It just sort of cracks me up. All right, let's get these speakers out of here. Pretty hollow plastic, decent weight. I thought we ought to get these off of the turntable. We'll look at those closer in a minute. And this foam blocking here. Looks like the counterbalance and everything is already on there. This has a pretty unique counterbalance. I'm going to take a look at that in a minute. You'll see what I mean. All right, it's got a good weight to it. I mean, it feels like that much MDF should feel like. Okay, so let me go ahead and clear out some of this packaging and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got pretty much everything unwrapped. The first thing I'm noticing is something's missing here, guys. There ain't no dust cover on this thing, which is weird. The only other turntable we've come across, I think, that doesn't have the dust cover that should is the Marley Stirred Up. That even has like a soft dust cover. So this may be the first. It's just like, you know what? No dust cover. No, that's not true. The Crosley DJ100, rest in peace, because that was a cool turntable, also did not have a dust cover. So, I mean, it looks cool until it's, dusty. So let's start with the speaker. So, hollow, little rubber nubs there. On the back, we've got our speaker tabs and a port. The number one question is that a real tweeter or not? The dust cap actually matches the dust cap on the woofer. Looks like that's a paper fiber woofer. And that does feel like a real tweeter will give you kind of a little click to it. So I think that is real. And looking in the back, there is some kind of something in there. Let's see if we can zoom in. This may not be the definitive thing about whether or not this is real or not, but I think that might be a real tweeter. We also might be able to tell when it's playing, but all right, that should get the job done. So because of the fact that there are speakers that connect directly to this, it's cool because you've got everything you need in one place, right? You don't need anything. You don't need to go buy powered speakers. You don't need an external stereo system. You may want to upgrade the sound, but it's everything you need out of the box. So this would be really cool, assuming everything checks out, which we will look at. If everything's fine on this might be a cool starter turntable. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right. So again, it's got good heft to it. This is MDF. You can see some interesting texture here on the front. Interesting. Almost feels like Formica, like a Formica countertop. It's got sort of an eggshell finish, which I think is nice, actually. Let's flip it over and look on the bottom. This is really interesting. Look at this white piece. What do you think is in there? That piece is hollow. Okay, so that's going to be the back side of this. So probably this is hollowed out with some wires that connect. Because they're using what I assume to be a solid plinth, all of the guts are in this box that's on the bottom, this plastic shell box. Kind of similar to the U-turn, although the box on this one is bigger. The feet are that same type we saw recently where it's a spring and then this rubber foot going over it with some grippiness, little nubs on there. There is the badge. In the bottom of the main bearing, it's just a threaded screw, which is kind of interesting. And then rubber feet. Unlike the U-turn that uses just 3 feet, I think it's got a central foot there and then the 2 front ones. This uses 4, which is fine. On the back, again, it does have a built-in amplifier, but you can also connect it externally to powered speakers, your own stereo system. It's got a built-in preamp and the grounding post. In case you are using an external preamp, you need to connect the grounding post if you're doing that. 12 volts. 12 volts because it's a magnetic cartridge. The ceramics run on 5, but the magnetic requires 12 volts to power the preamp and the speaker tabs where the amplifier is and a power switch. So it looks cool. I think that's neat. That's really cool. All right, let's look at that main bearing on the top side. It's got a little up and down give, no big deal. Tiny bit of left to right give as well. Doesn't spin freely. There's the motor and the pulley, little brass pulley on there. It's probably a JYK motor. Now this tone arm is an interesting one, and we'll look at it, how to set it up in a second here. But let's look at these knobs down here. We've got volume, pitch control, which is awesome, and speed control. It does do Bluetooth as well. So that is the B. It's a B model, if you remember from the beginning. Let's go ahead and put our platter on. It looks like we got a standard aluminum platter here. Cast aluminum. The belt is there. It is obviously a belt-driven turntable. It does have the recessed lip. Some people don't like the recessed. Actually, this isn't recessed, but this part is recessed. This is up a little bit. Some people don't like that as much because, in their mind, a flat platter mat is going to have a gap. If they have like a rigid platter mat. If you're using the felt one that comes with it. So this has the kind of faint, you can see it, Crosley logo, the same one as that 45 adapter. There's no peg for the 45 adapter that I can see. That's kind of annoying. I wish they had that. But if you've got a soft platter mat, then, you know, it's fine. And I think it's fine either way. It's just going to ride up a little bit higher because of that ridge. The ribbon here is to help you align the belt. So what we're going to do, I'm going to see if I can do this on camera with one hand. I got some of that string tape. Remember string tape? My grandparents always had this string indestructible tape. So we're simply going to use it to help guide the belt over the pulley like that. And I'm going to have to use 2 hands to remove it, but then you remove that. Just make sure by moving it left and right a little bit that the belt is laying flat, which in this case it is. So I'm going to take that off, double check. Yeah, we're ready to go. So let me get the speakers connected and I'll take a closer look at that tone arm and let you know what I was talking about there. Okay, so I've got the incandescent lights on, and they don't need to be incandescents, I always say that, but just lights that are on the same power supply as the record player, because we are using the Hudson Hi-Fi strobe mat in order to gauge the speed accuracy. But this does have pitch control, so if the speed's off, we should be able to rectify it pretty easily. But I wanted just to test it out of the gate and see how accurate it was. So I'm going to turn on the turntable, switches back there, and well, that's a beefy tone arm clip. I like that. I like that a lot. By the way, the tone arm is metal. Let's check this. A little bit of give, but not bad. The lift shelf has rubber on it, which is always good. It's a metal cueing lever, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. But right now, I just want to start by looking at the, oops, don't do that. I just want to start by looking at the speed accuracy. So, always say this just to make sure that people that haven't seen this before know what the heck is happening. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the inner 3 rings because we are on 60 hertz power. The outer 3 rings are for 50 hertz power. Here in the United States, this is for us. And of those, we're going to be looking at these 2 because this is a 2-speed turntable. So let me get a little bit closer. Okay, so I promise you I'm not using the scissors to touch anything, but see this right here? See how everything is, the lines are marching to the left? That is telling us that it is moving pretty fast. So I am going to lower the pitch until these lines appear to be static. And I'm glad it's got pitch control because that motor wasn't calibrated perfectly. I had to change it to about the 9 o'clock position. So I had to back off about 25% on that motor speed. So you could get in there if you wanted to and recalibrate the motor with some tweaker tool and a strobe mat and a lot of patience, so that the strobe or the pitch control at the 12 o'clock sort of detent position was completely accurate. If you don't want to deal with that, we were able to adjust it just turning the pitch down because it was fast. So we had to turn it down to about 25% below the speed that it was supposed to be at. All right, next is this ring. So flipping to 45 RPM. All right, so there's 45. Now those are marching to the right, which means that it's going too slow. So I'm going to turn that pitch knob up. And there we go. That's at 11 o'clock on the pitch control. Almost perfectly calibrated, the 45 RPM. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and bring this guy home. We can take this off for now. So far, so good. This is weird. In the down position, this thing is slammed completely into the plinth. It's really weird. Oh, that's weird. So this is up actually. And this in this position is, that is weird. Is that right? Yeah, so pulling it forward lifts it and it just slams into there. So I could see this getting worn out. And so this is the down position. Okay, we need to set this, we need to calibrate this guy right here. By the way, I do keep hearing this sort of audible bzz, bzz every once in a while, which is kind of odd. But we need to balance this. Now this tone arm, I believe, might be an upgrade to this turntable. This is, it looks good. I mean, it looks beefy. It looks like it should do what it's supposed to. The thing about it is this, it's unique especially, is the fact that there's no markings on this counterbalance. See that? Isn't that weird? And not only that, it doesn't seem to thread on, it seems to just kind of slide on. Let's look at this thing. Yeah. So there's like 2 rubber grommets in there. I mean, I guess that works. But yeah, so it doesn't thread on, it doesn't screw on, it just kind of slides on. They're calling this the stop point, which I don't know what else you would call that, so that works for me.
The guy was coming down, and I guess the police was trying to do a stop point. The man said, no, not today.
So with no markings on there, how do you calibrate this thing? Because by the way, it does have an Audio-Technica 3500L, which is sort of the entry point magnetic cartridge. It's a great cartridge. It does a great job. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And before 5,000 people ask, no, this will not damage your records. I don't even need to test that because that's ridiculous. It's not going to damage your records, okay? So we need to figure out how to adjust this because this 3500, by the way, another little offshoot here. I said that this was sort of the second to bottom of the barrel magnetic cartridge, and somebody's like, wait a minute, if this is bottom barrel, the second to bottom barrel, what is bottom of the barrel? There's a Groove Tool magnetic clone that's even one step below this. But I would go with this all day long over that. So how are you going to set the counterbalance if there's no markings? Now we're going to use my little trusty gauge here, of course, digital gauge. But if you don't have that, Crosley's advice is to put about 1/4 of an inch between the stop point and this guy. So just eyeballing 1/4 of an inch, that looks about accurate. And that's up for slight debate as well. But they said approximately that position should yield what they identify as the ideal tracking force of this, which is 4 grams. I personally would like to see this closer to 3.5. On the diagram here on the manual, it says 3.5 to 4 grams. So let's go for 3.5-ish, maybe a little north of that. But you can kind of see how they would recommend doing that. It would be better if there was markings on there, although, I mean, it's pretty simple enough. So let's go ahead and test it. So let's zero out this guy here. I was playing with this gauge the other day, and I could not get it to work. I was looking at these crazy numbers, and I realized that for some reason it was set to ounces and not grams. And I was like, what the heck? How could this be? Something is wrong. Okay, so this is zeroed out. And let me adjust the camera position a little better so we can look at this and see how accurate this method is. Forget everything I said about the tone arm lift being backwards. I think it actually is normal. It just took some getting used to for some strange reason. Okay, so that was not enough. So I'm going to scoot this forward to more of gosh, I don't know what I'd have to measure that, but it looks like about 3 millimeters. And let's zero this bad boy out again. And, oh, I see what it is. So, okay, I get it now. So if you take it to this kind of resting position, which is really the down position, then it's down. That's where it will descend. If you go past that, which it sometimes allows you to do for some reason, it's not allowing me to do it now, then it will raise it back up again. So that is the problem. Okay, so that gets us to 4 grams, right about 4 grams. So, yeah, there's not really a 1/4 of an inch. I would say that's more 1/8 of an inch. I'm gonna back it off just a little bit more. Let's try that. Okay, I like that better. 3.8 grams, I like that better. Okay, so let's see what that really is on the back side. So yeah, I would say that's more like an 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch get you to 3.7, 3.8 grams. And I feel that that's a good value. All right, whew, I think we're finally set. We've got our speed set. We've got the counterbalance set. Let's take a look at the cartridge, shall we? I like these tone arms that mount the cartridge like this. I mean, this thing is tall. This has got some vertical height to it, which I think is cool. The head shell is fixed to the tone arm, as you can see there. However, the cartridge can be replaced. You can upgrade the cartridge. You just can't put a new head shell on it. It is a straight tone arm with an angled head shell. Okay, so actually we are going to start with the 45 RPM record. This is Radio by Emil's telegraphic transmission device. This is a small hole 45, rather rare size and speed combination here in the States. And this is up, I believe. It's tripping me up. I keep getting confused because of the fact it wants, look at this. When it's in this position, in the rest position, it floors itself. Gosh, that is weird. And you can wiggle it a little bit. And now it's stopping. That's definitely the up position. That's tripping me up, but that's definitely the up position. Okay, I'm going to, yeah, let's see what, we're going to use the built-in speakers. Speakers actually sound a little better than I thought they would, but listen to this. Hear that? Now it's grounded out. So there's a little bit of a grounding buzz depending. Sometimes when you touch this, you hear zzz through the speakers. So it's kind of interesting. So we are going to listen to this Enoch Light record, Project 3 record. Sound really, really good, by the way. And this will be 33 RPM, so I'm flipping it to 33, and I'm adjusting it to the correct position on the pitch slider based on our previous test. So what do I think? Am I going to recommend it, or am I going to say stay away from it? I don't think I've ever done this before. I've also never felt this way about a turntable, but I think I'm going to go neutral. I'm going to put a link in the description below if you want to give it a shot. If you do that, let me know your thoughts. I personally don't know if I would recommend this, but I certainly wouldn't say avoid it at all costs. There's nothing really wrong with it. It just has its quirks. This is going to take some getting used to. This is going to take some getting used to. And the speakers are okay. I'm sure the sound would be increased in quality if we played it on a better sound system. But I really wanted to review this for what it was, and that is an inclusive, all-in-one, out-of-the-box, turnkey solution, as they say. And for that, it does the job. It's not going to damage your records. It's not the best representation of vinyl sound that I have ever heard, but it's also definitely not the worst. So I'm going to go completely neutral on this, you guys. Back to our destination of Breckenridge, Colorado. Here's a little sneak peek at some of the cool things that we saw up there. If you want to see more about what in the world we were up to on this fine day, well, the snow was falling. Don't forget to check out my wife's channel, Beyond the Purple Suitcase. Link is in the description below. We have a lot of fun over there. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.